already know the drill. We back again with another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And strap on your seatbelts, cause it's all pedal to the metal from here. And without further ado, your amazing host, Drew Billy.
Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys, here with your host, Drew Billy, Trevor Dinsmore, and Nate Stice. How are we doing tonight, fellas?
Doing great, DB. Glad to be back for another episode. As we wind down with NFL talk, excited to kind of bring NBA, college basketball, and a little bit of MLB news back regarding the Hall of Fame class of 2024 that I view as a very strong one. So glad to be back, man.
Likewise, buddy. It was a good weekend of football. I know we're kind of winding down with it, so it's time for me to watch more hockey, more basketball, and all the rest. I would say I'm looking forward to baseball, but I'm a Pirates fan, so.
Uh-oh.
Well,
We're not hearing Dinsey.
We're okay. But just moving on here, NFL news, boys, from this past weekend with the Chiefs and Ravens game. I think there's some fans that are sad, some fans that are happy. The Swifties are definitely happy. All the wonderful people out there. I know, again, as always, I know viewers have come to know this, that I'm long-winded. So will you boys give your analysis of what the hell happened here in the Ravens-Chiefs game?
Well, I'll go first. I just don't know what the Ravens were trying to do. They've played a certain style of football for years with Lamar Jackson as their quarterback. Running the football, taking what the defense is giving you, and they've been criticized for their lack of weapons. And then they've played mostly the same style all year, hit on some more explosive plays to the outside and over the top that they have had in recent years. But the Chiefs literally gave them chunk and dunk and grinded out football, which plays right into their hands. And they just forced it down the field into their weapons' hands too many times and had too many turnovers to win this game. It's a shame that Zay Flowers fumbled right at the goal line. That would have been that was a huge play in the game. I'm not saying it cost him the game, but it certainly didn't help. And it was just unfortunate to see that from a guy who's played so well all year. He's had a phenomenal rookie season. But truthfully, it was just I felt Andy Reid outcoached John Harbaugh. I think he had his team ready to play, and despite scoring no points in the second half, they just were able to shut him right down and say, you're not going to beat us over the top. You're not beating us with big plays. You're going to have to earn it. And I'm just surprised that the Ravens didn't go, we've been earning it for years with this style of play. Instead, they forced it, and credit to the Chiefs. They made them play their game. They made them play into their hands, which they're pretty good at doing. This defensive unit for the Chiefs is very good. They got, playmakers on all three levels. Even without Willie Gay in the middle, they were able to, make Lamar Jackson make a bunch of bad throws and decisions. And it was enough to win the game. One final thing I'll say, I don't know how you run the ball as few times as you did. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. I mean, what? I know you've had so many injuries at running back, but this is a team that it does not matter who is back there. And they have proven that time and time again. As long as you have Lamar healthy and a mix of backs that can, you have your up the middle backs, your change of pace backs, some that can catch the ball or some that can do some of all of it. They're all capable. Hill, Edwards, they've had Kenyon Drake back there. And so on and so forth. It doesn't matter who they have had. They are good. And that offensive line is one of the best units in the league. And they just didn't use it. It's not like the game was ever out of reach and you're passing to get back in the game. the game was close enough that they could constitute running it down their throat still to will their way back into the game. And they just refused to do it. And that was disappointing to see. And that's kind of my final comment about it. I think it was very questionable play calling. And, credit to Mike McDonald, his defensive unit for the Ravens played their butts off to hold 17 points with the Chiefs offense. Pretty good, but you can't turn it over that much. And I just can't believe that they just didn't run the football more and tried to force down the field. It's a shame. It was inexcusable that happened.
Right.
Can you hear me now?
You're
Yes.
good.
Okay. I thought you were going to have to say the word that's on my shirt in order to hear me. But I think we're good. To elaborate on that point there, Nader, about the rushing, I don't know why Baltimore wasn't handing the ball off. I just looked it up here too. 16 carries, and only 6 of those were to running backs. 2 of them were to Zay Flowers, and then Lamar carried it 8 times for 54 yards. They averaged 5 yards a rush, on par with what they're normally doing. And in the regular season, they lead the league in average rushing by about 16, 17 yards.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the hell they were doing. Like you said, yeah, they trailed early. They gave up an opening drive touchdown to the Chiefs, but then they go down and score. It's a close game pretty much throughout. I understand you get down 17-7, you press a little bit, and it almost worked, like you mentioned, Nate, the Zay Flowers fumble. That's kind of unfortunate. But the Ravens, they also shot themselves in the foot with, I don't know how many 15-yard penalties, pass interferences, unsportsmanlike conducts. The one, again, with Zay Flowers, as great of a game as he had 5 for 115 and a touchdown. He had a phenomenal game. But as good a game as he had, that fumble might not happen if he's not flexing on the guy downfield. Because they're right in the red zone if that happens. I think right around the 15, 20-yard line. Or maybe even inside of that. Might even been inside the 10. But then, he gets the unsportsmanlike penalty, drops him back a little bit. Then they still have to earn it, and they almost did. But it's just really, it's a series of unfortunate events with this Ravens team.
Yeah.
Credit to the Chiefs. They took full advantage. They got 2 touchdowns early. They got out to a lead and were able to hold on to it. And like you said, Nate, Spagnuolo's been leading that charge for quite some time now. They've had to become a run. I won't necessarily say a run-first team right now, although they did have 32 carries in this game, which doubled the Ravens, who had that on their bingo card, right?
Yeah, exactly. Terrible.
Yeah. So in this game, at the very least, they were run first and then play defense, and it has worked out. It has worked out for them. I mean, yeah, Mahomes makes the plays that he has to. He had 6 rushes himself. He's literally the fastest slow guy that I've ever seen in my life, but he knows how to make plays on his feet still. So, yeah, and give credit to Travis Kelce, too. Caught all 11 of his targets for 116 and had the touchdown as well. So, got out to a lead early, didn't have to score in the second half. Feels like the 6th or 7th game we're talking about these guys not scoring in the second half. Hand out this time. Hand out. That was one of the more excruciating games that I've watched in recent memory. Not because I'm watching the Chiefs and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes and all the rest go to the Super Bowl again. It's because I saw a team lose its identity right before my very eyes.
Yep.
No more have I seen that than I did this past Sunday with this Ravens team.
Mm-hmm.
That includes pretty much all the years that I've been watching football. In no greater a fashion did a team just absolutely abandon their identity. In the biggest of games, at least not since I've been watching football. It's excruciating to watch is what it was. That, and of course, there was 3 points total scored in the second half. How many times did the Ravens get into the red zone or in the opposing end across the 50? Then you have Lamar throwing it into triple coverage to try and get it into likely, or you got that fumble down on the goal line with Zay Flowers, and I believe it was Snead who poked that ball out, if I remember correctly, Nate. Snead, he had a fantastic game too. He's a ridiculous athlete.
Yeah.
But yeah, I even said this in several group chats and over the phone with some folks that I talked to over the past couple of days. I hate this phrase, and I hate when sports like media personnel people use it. The Ravens beat themselves more than the Chiefs won this game.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you guys always come out with good points. I got to say, yeah, you can't have Kelsey have third most receiving yards of the season against you. That doesn't help you. I would compare the downfall to this Ravens defensive side, more defensive side. They just played reckless, not with their head on their shoulders. I would compare it to the playoff game between the Steelers and Bengals where AB took that crucial hit. That just constant, just making stupid plays. John's on the sideline losing his mind.
Well, at least that, Drew, that was over the course of a series where all that went down with Pac-Man and Burfict and Joey Porter being on the field and all that. We all remember that very well. If I recall correctly, that might have been the last Steelers playoff win, or I think they might have had one after that.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Steelers in, but
no, I know. It popped into my head. I had to say it. My OCD kicked in. Oh, I must inform the viewers. But this was over the course of an entire game. This Ravens team just collapsed.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, they found something with a quick strike in the first quarter. Zay Flowers had the long touchdown, and they thought that's what they could do all game. That's not the Chiefs' MO. Sorry to interrupt you, Drew.
No.
You have some light to shout.
No. It's the truth, though. I mean, the whole game. It's just and me and Trevor talked about it last night. Nate and viewers out there. He touched on it just a little bit, but Tony Romo talking at points about how he's happy Lamar's sitting in the pocket. That is not Lamar's game.
No.
And Trevor alluded to it last night too. Read 1, read 2, read 3. Take off. He did not do that. He just sat in the pocket. And I just never seen a team. If you give Mahomes more on top of the penalties, but you give him more chances to burn you, he will do it. This is a quarter. I cannot stand the guy. I am not a fan of Patrick Mahomes. If you are, good for you. Can't stand his brother. Can't stand that whole posse going on up there. It's a fucking mirage. But anyway.
Ironically, Patrick might be the least annoying of them.
Right. I can't stand his brother.
But what's her name? Brittany, Jackson, Mahomes, and now Taylor Swift up there. I don't know.
Got the most famous.
At least Donna Kelsey is blessing us with her presence. That's all I can say.
Yeah, Kelsey parents get a pass. They're fine. I'm all right with them. Mr. Kelsey just wants nachos and a damn beer. That's all he used to there and watch his boys play football. But no, honestly, it's the best team to see this happen to, and I'm okay with the Ravens. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, you want to see Taylor at the Super Bowl?" I could give a shit. I can't stand the Rapids. I don't even know how to say how I would root for them. I don't think I ever will. But yeah, that's my take on them. It's the best team to see crumble. And I'm sorry to you Raven fans out there, but I mean that with all my heart. Any lasting points here, fellas, on the Ravens Chiefs?
One final thing I want to add.
Yep.
To those people that are saying Lamar Jackson's not a quarterback, shut up. I'm tired of it.
Please.
He had one bad game and now you're head off. Shut up. He's going to be a 2-time MVP.
Yep.
He is the most dynamic player to ever play the position. And it's not even a debate. It's not. It's really not. Go ahead and say Michael Vick, but there's things that Lamar Jackson does that Michael Vick didn't do. And Michael Vick has admitted that.
Yes.
And Michael Vick played at an amazingly high level and certainly had a better arm than Lamar Jackson, but there are no ball carriers at the quarterback position like him. And there are plays on that field escaping pressure and some of the crazy backdoor throws and on the run throws that he makes and scramble plays that he makes that nobody else can make. And unfortunately, he let the attitude of I'm going to win this game with my arm just get in his mind instead of just using his God-given ability to win the football game. Because I think still had enough God-given ability just to run it right down field, and he just didn't do it. He was holding it. He was adamant on passing it. They didn't need to score fast. They didn't even need to score often. They just didn't, he just didn't play his best game. And we're going to hear it all off season again, and I'm not trying to defend one of our division rivals. I'm not. But, come on. The slander he got was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Totally ridiculous. He just didn't play a good game. Quit saying he's not a quarterback. You don't win 2 MVPs out of a fluke at a position and then just all of a sudden get to say, oh, he's not a quarterback. No. Cut it out. Cut it out. This dude is one of the most elite players of our generation. So I just hope people will shut up about that, because that is the stupidest take I think I've ever heard. Cut it out. Quit saying it.
Just to elevate that, I was going to touch on Lamar. I'd never seen him step up toward the line of scrimmage and then go lateral and then try to throw the ball. I saw him do that twice.
Yeah,
I don't know why he was doing that.
Right.
He's much more capable of running the ball, getting a bunch of yards than he is throwing the ball down the field against that Chiefs defense anyway. He is a better deep ball than a lot of people give him credit for. If you look at his passing statistics and his rating, for 20-plus yard targets, it's up there. I believe it's in the top 10 in the league. So he's doing just fine with that.
Yeah.
Echoing your point, Nate, I was going to say Michael Vick walked so Lamar could run, but it's more like Michael Vick ran so Lamar could run faster. So he could sprint. And right now, Lamar's sprinting, probably on his way to a second MVP.
Last point. Yeah, he is going to be MVP. It pains me saying that about a Ravens player. Yeah. God damn it, I got pain in my chest.
Facts. We report facts, even though we're biased.
Right. But I do have to say he does need to figure out what the hell he's going to do. Is he staying in the pocket? I don't know who along the way told him that he needs to brace himself a little more. Let the guy run, okay? You see a guy up in Buffalo doing it every day, not sliding, not doing what he's supposed to do. Why the hell wouldn't you let the guy that's going for the second MVP, who basically that opens up your offense also, fellas? For the viewer, I know you guys know this, but the viewers out there, you got a quarterback that can run like lightning and throw the damn ball. He has a bazooka for an arm. You got to let him fucking run a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
I don't know. I think I'm going to be honest with you, lasting points here, because I'm long and winded here. If he would have ran it more, we would have saw a different outcome. But he's just held on to the ball too long.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm with you. If they run it more as a team,
yep.
I think it's a different game for sure.
If they run it more and they're more disciplined, that is a totally different game. I think the Ravens might win by a score more. But we're playing the what if game. What is the Chiefs are going to another Super Bowl, second one in a row.
Yep.
And however many in the last however many years at this point. It's kind of getting old listening to it, but
now that I brought up the Bills,
4 out of 6, thank you.
Yeah. Why are teams now all of a sudden going out of character and going so conservative when playing the Chiefs defense? It seems like over the last 3 to 4 weeks here, boys, I'm seeing a constant theme here with the teams facing that defense.
It's what good teams do. They force you out of your element. They make you think about things differently. They make you call a game differently, perform differently. So you have to give credit to that unit. They have lockdown corners. They have, I know Willie Gay missed the game, but he's an insanely good linebacker in the middle. And Chris, the one-man machine down in the trenches. I mean, and Holt, he was getting a great rush again. He's proving to be, he didn't play week 1. He's proving to be the best acquisition of, the season. Truly. I mean, he is. It's incredible the impact this dude is having. And he just got $1 million for getting them back to the Super Bowl. So, if you're the Chiefs or somebody else, pay Chris Jones his money. I'm not saying pay Von Miller money at that age, but pay him some money, because this dude is good, and he is just an absolute force in the trenches. And he doesn't quite get the level I think he deserves. But hopefully it starts, because the year he's had, despite missing week 1, is just incredible. It's special for sure.
Okay. All right, swinging over here, boys. We're in Santa Clara, California here, setting this theme for all you beautiful people. We have the Lions. It's been 3 decades since they've been in the playoffs. Going in the 49ers faithful. 17 points down at halftime, and then 30 minutes later, we have a whole different outcome. Thoughts, opinions, what the hell happened to the Lions?
Yeah, they almost did the opposite of the Ravens, right? They stuck to their guns to a fault,
Yes.
They had too many aggressive play calls, on 4th down, and the plays that they, execute on a million times, they weren't hitting on them, and the drops were just killing them. They make a couple, might be a different game, or you kick the field goals, might be a different game, but the combination of all of it made for a disastrous downfall. And that's a weird win for the 49ers. Usually their path to victory is not giving up like 21 points or more. However, we have seen it time and time again this year, that Detroit Lions secondary giving up plays, that defensive line team giving up big drives and having no momentum all of a sudden. And that's exactly what they did. It was truly the tale of 2 different games, almost 2 different halves for sure. And it's a shame that the Lions are going to have to wait even longer for their first Super Bowl appearance, because they played an incredible game to start. They came right out and punched them in the mouth, up a couple scores right off the bat, and they just completely lost their momentum coming out of halftime. I don't know what happened. And I think Dan Campbell showed it against the Cowboys, and we talked about it briefly, and we're going to talk about it now again. I understand that you're an aggressive coach, and I'm with you on that most of the time. On 4th down going for it, I get it. But this is a different atmosphere. You have to read the momentum. You have to read the room. You have to read your team. And you got to trust your special teams there to execute on those couple field goals that you should have kicked. And I just think that I give them credit for going with what got them there and just being full bore aggressive. But I don't know. I just disagreed with some of the calls, and it's unfortunate to see some of the guys not execute. They got open for Goff. They dropped the ball. And then also the defense just gives up far too many big drives and big plays, and the game flipped when Ayuk made that freaking insane catch off the guy's helmet that flipped the whole game. It was an unbelievable play by Ayuk, great concentration to go with it. But I mean, just sad to see. I'm fine with the 49ers winning, but it was just sad to see for that fan base, knowing how big that collapse was, So, yeah, just a game, and credit to the 49ers, didn't give up, and they figured things out at halftime, and they came out and they punched them right back, and exactly how I'd expect a Kyle Shanahan team to respond, and it's exactly what they did. So,
yeah, Kyle Shanahan these last couple of games been on the reverse side of some comebacks. Obviously, we know which comeback he was most prominently victim to. But in this case, he's the antagonist in the comebacks, both against the Green Bay Packers last week and then against the Detroit Lions this past week. Must be something with the NFC North. I don't know. Maybe they're prone to it. But I remember texting you, Nate, as soon as the Lions turned it over on downs, right after San Francisco kicked that field goal to open the second half. I'm like, watch this game turn because of that. Yeah. And lo and behold, Ayuk makes that catch. There's a fumble in Detroit's own end. San Francisco takes advantage of that. All of a sudden, it's 24-24 within about 5 minutes of real time. Just absolute insanity. And it, like you said, Nate, it's unfortunate for Detroit and the fan base to have to go through it. But think about what they went through before this, too. They just won 2 playoff games. The first playoff game since 1991. People have been born and died not seeing the Detroit Lions win a playoff game.
Right.
They just won 2 this year. And good news for them today, too. Ben Johnson sticking around. And that's huge. That is huge. I mean, we saw how losing a coordinator, in the Eagles' case, losing 2 coordinators, we saw what that can do to a locker room. We saw what that can do to the performance on the field. Detroit doesn't have to worry about that. Do they have some holes to sew up? Yes, absolutely, especially in the secondary. Cam Sutton can't be your lead corner. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. He's good. He's good, but he's not CB1, so to speak.
Yeah.
So they gotta sew up on the back end there. Aiden Hutchinson is a dude. I think he'll stay in Detroit for a long, long time. And that middle linebacking core, they're pretty decent as well. Like I said, some holes to sew up on that side, but they don't have to worry about a damn thing on offense right now. Just build the depth. That's all they got to do on offense right now. And they could very well be back. Even though I will say this too, that division is probably going to be a little bit more competitive next year, with Green Bay looking the way they looked in these last several weeks. And Lord knows how the Bears are going to do with the plethora of draft picks they have this season. They could make a run at it too. And you never know what the Vikings are going to do. You just never know what the Vikings are going to do. But no, I will say it's unfortunate for Detroit, but congratulations to Detroit for one hell of a season.
Yep.
I mean, what a freaking turnaround. We're talking 2 years ago, this team won 3 games. 3 games. And they're 1-6 to start the year after that. 1-6, 1-7.
Yeah.
Then they go 9-8, barely miss out on the playoffs, and everybody's gearing up, and they delivered. They delivered. Now, could they have capped it off by going to and winning a Super Bowl? Sure. But ultimately, the better team won.
Yeah, I agree.
And the more pedigreed team won. And quite frankly, we probably got the 2 most pedigreed franchises in the modern era of football playing in the Super Bowl. It's going to be just judging from their previous Super Bowl, it's going to be a hell of a game. I'm going to enjoy that. But Detroit Lions fans, don't be disappointed. Don't be disappointed. Y'all will be back.
Yep.
Right. No. And I guess to start it off, my take here, I didn't know Brock Purdy could run the ball. What the hell is that? 49 yards?
Another one of the fastest slow guys that I've ever seen.
Like that big takeaway. He comes out first half, 92 yards from scrimmage and 1 interception in the first half. And then the second half, he opens it up a little more, 174 yards and a touchdown. I got to throw this out here because it's been driving me nuts because I've seen it. Some people want Dan Campbell's job because he's too reckless with the play calls. He gambles. No. Let me just clear the air. If there's any person that watches this goddamn show that thinks Dan Campbell's an idiot, for 1, or 2, cannot coach, or 3, should be out of the Lions organization, you're an idiot. Point blank. He literally will probably – no, he could go – I'm going to be honest with you. He could go rest of his years, maybe suck it up, whatever, not do shit. This will be a part of Detroit's history. He will be a part of Detroit's franchise history for a long time. I mean, Jesus. Now, what I'm really sad about, I wanted to hear him at the Super Bowl and hear his press conferences, but I guess we're not going to see that.
We all wanted that.
But I think, in due part to everybody and to the city of Detroit, they bit a shit ton of kneecaps this season, and they should be damn proud. Kyle Shanahan, he's one of the best coaches. His dad was one of the best coaches, football minds. There's a long tree. You can look that up. We would be here for 2 hours explaining the fucking connections between McVay and whatever, all around.
Just that entire, what is it, the 2013 Washington coaching staff, I think it is.
Yeah.
Remember that particular team, I think, won 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-13, and they've had 5 coming into this year. They had, I believe, 5 NFL head coaches, just that were assistants. Now Raheem Morris is back as a head coach, and
Yes,
old man Shanahan obviously was a former head coach, and their defensive coordinator that never gets brought up, Jim Haslett, he was a former head coach too for the Rams and the Saints, and he was just a head coach in the XFL. So what it goes to show me was, if the man who I will not speak of on this program is your owner, I don't give a crap who your coach is, because he's going to screw up the talent pool that you have, and there's no way to overcome it. So, but yeah, the coaching tree is fantastic with Mike Shanahan.
Right. No, and just final points, final thing for me. The better team won. I would not say don't count the Lions out next season, because I think this is momentum Dan Campbell feeds off of. He doesn't need the 12 cups of coffee. He needs something that would give him more of a kick in the ass. But yeah, Brock Purdy, I think, showing that he can perform in the spotlight. We'll see what the hell happens. I think some people are looking for predictions. We'll wait till next week, because I got to see some more shit come out about what the hell I think is going to happen.
Yeah, we gotta see some of the media stuff happen. We gotta see, Lord knows a bunch of stuff always happens in the couple weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. So if you want an interesting story, go back to the Falcons-Broncos Super Bowl in the late 90s. Just evaluate that week for me. I encourage people to go look that up. So it's a lot of shit went down. I'll just say that much.
But final points, boys.
No, good. Two great games, but it was a shame to see, I think, some dumb football to kind of cost those two teams, because I think America was rooting for those two. I would like to think.
Yeah, especially the Lions. Quick question in the comments here, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Is Purdy a franchise quarterback? And I'll give my answer because it's short and sweet. If he balls in the Super Bowl, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my answer is yes already. I don't care what he does in the Super Bowl. At least if he doesn't turn it over 17 times, then he is to me. However, they will not be signing him to an extension for at least 2 more years, and they should not do that, because he is on an insanely cheap deal.
Yep.
Yeah, he's literally making less money than Al Michaels made.
Yep.
Like per game, I think.
Yeah, but here's the business side of it. I think if you're Brock Purdy, you say, I will not be playing for this salary ever again. I think you just tell him straight up, I'm not playing for this again. Sorry. This is insane. I want to win, but I can't go through this for $900,000 when freaking Russell Wilson's getting paid 45 and Deshaun Watson's getting paid 45 and Daniel Jones getting paid 40.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
almighty. Yeah.
I don't think, it's easy for me to sit here and say that as like, a couch coach or, one of those people. But seriously, I think I say, look at my market. This is craziness. I need to get some more money here. What else do I have to do? I know I have a great team around me, but even if I can get, a decent amount after that, and not wreck our team, we can keep our team together and I could still get paid, and then maybe get another, contract in another couple of years that's, more friendly, even more friendly to me, when some of these OGs kind of, maybe move on or retire, or the team, decides to break up, then worry about it. But yeah, I going next year, I think if you're Purdy, you just say, I'm not playing for this again.
Right. No. Yeah, Cody, we appreciate the question. I'm going to be a little more critical here. Does have one of the best goddamn lineups in the league.
Oh,
okay, let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Now I came out harsh there. Now I'll be real with you. I think, you still got to know how to audible out. You still got to throw the damn ball in the right spots. It does help having an all-pro running back to kind of take the pressure off you. But no, he's a hell of a quarterback. But I will, Nate, you alluded to his contract. There's guys that are making more money off sports cards, autographs, whatever, than that poor kid's making a year, putting his ass on the line, putting his life on the line, and times some of the hits these poor guys take. And Al Michaels is sitting in a heated booth making $1 million, and this poor kid's making $900,000 after taxes in California. We're looking at about $500,000. How about it, Trevor?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
but no, I think Brock is the real deal, and they just should grant him the respect he deserves because last year was a freak thing. Injury happens, but he gets you back there. So give him the respect. He can't play in the rain though, Cody. But I'm just kidding with you. No, got to throw out here though. Big news, waves right before Trevor's segment here. Big waves here in the Pittsburgh area. Arthur Smith is hired as the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys already know my reaction in the group chat we had. I apologize for interrupting your afternoons with that. What the F text? But what do you guys think here?
Yeah. You said Arthur Smith, right?
Yes.
Well, all I know is Bob Nutting better be calling the Pittsburgh Steelers and saying, hey, can we get a deal on our logistics management so we can start saving money and add to the payroll so we can win too?
Right.
Your dad is a CEO of FedEx. Can we get in on this deal if you come to Pittsburgh? That's what Bob Nutting's thinking about the move. But no, in all seriousness, it is about the most mid-hire you could have possibly had, and it's exactly on brand with the way the Pittsburgh Steelers have been operating for the last 8 seasons.
Right.
They will not make a splash hire, and they will only hire someone who fits their personnel or personnel fits them and what they believe. It's a very safe hire to me. I mean, I don't know who else you get, though. I know what I'm saying. Like, I don't know who else you go out and get. So it's probably the right fit. And I'm going to say right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to try to run the football an insane amount next year. And I would be willing to bet that Mitchell Trubisky is gone, Mason Rudolph is probably gone, and Ryan Tannehill is the guy they bring in to compete with Kenny Pickett to see who can hand the ball off better to our running backs. Because if you think about Arthur Smith, where has he been? Tennessee, before he went to Atlanta. So there's a very good chance that Ryan Tannehill, who is probably going to be playing on a penny's contract the Steelers can certainly give him, would certainly come to Pittsburgh and be their game manager alongside Kenny Pickett and be the veteran presence that pushes him over the top, which I don't think will happen. I will say this about Ryan Tannehill. Despite his struggles in recent years and criticism, he's been a professional. He's been very, very good to Will Levis and Malik Willis. Nobody says a bad word about the guy. Even when stuff went bad in Miami, nobody said a bad word about him. When he came in and backed up Mariota to start his time in Tennessee, no, he didn't sit there and complain. He just kept working. So in terms of being a veteran, I'm fine with him coming in just in that regard. But if people are seriously going to think that if a Ryan Tannehill comes in and that's going to push Kenny Pickett to a new level, they're crazy. They're crazy, But this is lining up perfectly. We can see it unfolding. And Arthur Smith is a running coordinator. He runs the crap out of the football. Yep. So what it comes down to is, can they find a way to use Najee Harris and complement him with Jalen Warren in a way that they use Derrick Henry? And it's yet to be determined. So what I think should happen determinant off of that hire is they need to freaking boost up this offensive line big time. If you're going to commit to this, then freaking commit to this. Boost up the line and run the freaking ball with the best of them in the league. Don't say you're doing it and then say, oh, it's Najee. Oh, it's James Conner. Oh, it's this. Then freaking commit to it and go after it. Right. If you're going to hire this guy to run the ball, then run the blessed ball. That's what you have to do. And if you're going to do that, then you got to have people on the other side that don't give up big plays. So have some depth in the secondary and have a little bit and supplemental on the inside interior in the pass rush and in the run game stopping a little bit, because Cameron Hayward's not getting any younger. And, our depth at corner and our depth on the inside interior and the defensive line is not great. So that's where we need to supplement with Arthur Smith. So very safe hire. Those are the moves I can very much see them making, definitely. And I think another thing that's possibly a lock, and Trevor and I talked about this, is drafting another wide receiver in the late rounds, because I'm sorry, Kelvin Austin at a $185, if that, maybe $155 or whatever he is, not gonna be able to do it. He's a gadget receiver, I think, personally. Allen Robinson, washed up, unfortunately. Good locker room.
Yeah, he was very disappointing this season, yeah.
And, Pat Freiermuth good as a tight end. They don't use him enough. Hopefully that'll change, but they need a third wide receiver for sure. So I'm hoping they can get somebody in the middle rounds, potentially. The guys that they sign as wide receivers, they don't really work out. They have to pretty much draft this position in Pittsburgh for some freaking stupid reason. But if you look back through time and time again, the weird players they've signed, pretty much nobody has done much of anything that they didn't draft themselves a wide receiver in the Tomlin era for the most part. So, yeah, it's a very safe hire, and one that if you're going to do this, and they have, you better freaking draft in accordance to it, and you better make free agent signings in accordance to it, because here's what it comes down to. That's the last thing I'm going to say. Mike Tomlin, I think, has 2 years with Arthur Smith as his coach.
Okay.
It's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Arthur Smith is going to get another head coaching position. I strongly feel that way. I really do. Even if he's like mediocre, I think he's going to get another crack, because this is an offensive league. But there's also the other side of this. If Arthur Smith and Tomlin stink together, Tomlin might be done.
That's what I'm saying.
And Arthur Smith might still be a coordinator in just that. It's either going to make Tomlin and crew look like a freaking genius or look like an idiot. This is the move right here. This is like desperation move. And time to put up or shut up if you're Arthur Smith, because a lot of people were unhappy with the game planning and his usage of the weapons. And a lot of people were unhappy with Mike Tomlin saying, well, he can't get us over this hump again. So these two have a lot to prove, and hopefully they can figure it out. And hopefully Khan supplements those two guys and drafts in accordance to that. So,
yeah. Just real quick, Trevor, I want to throw out there the reason I think there was a hire, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here. Mike Munchak, offensive line coach for the Steelers. I don't know the connection, but some reason people are saying by hiring Arthur Smith, that makes him interested in coming back to Pittsburgh and being the offensive line coach. Where the hell is there a tie-in with these two? Because Mike Munchak is a hell of a football mind. And Arthur Smith, no offense, I don't believe in him. Where have these two crossed paths? Does anybody know this?
I think possibly they coached there at Tennessee.
Okay.
Possible.
Okay.
I think there was maybe they were together.
I believe there was a bit of crossover there. I'm not.
It's okay.
Not fully sure.
Okay. Because I'm seeing that all over right now, and it's like, okay, no offense, but pretty respected guy. Arthur Smith, you got canned, and you're the FedEx guy's son. So like that's really the way in things here. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there was some crossover in Tennessee.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Looks like 3 years in the early 2010s. There was some crossover in Tennessee between Munchak.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Munchak and Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith being the tight ends coach, and Munchak being the O-line coach.
Yeah, and Munchak.
And that was before. That includes some time as Munchak being the head coach of that team.
Yeah.
So Munchak, it's more like 6 or 7 years that they were coaching together.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why he's more entailed to possibly come back now that possibly the worst OC in the history of the NFL is gone. And
yeah,
I know people are not happy, but Arthur Smith had the Tennessee Titans offense that didn't have, the most talent, especially not at quarterback in the AFC Championship game.
Okay.
And they were a wild card, and they just ran the table. Ryan Tannehill passed for less than 100 yards in all 3 of those games, and they won 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
So think about how that team was constructed and how this team with the Steelers is constructed.
Right.
That includes beating Brady in his last game as a Patriot, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just thought I'd toss that in there too.
I like him. I like him then. All right, we're cool.
Yes. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
All of a sudden we're
Give it in
cool.
there, right? You had a jersey, Arthur, I'd buy it, buddy. Hell yeah. Oh, geez.
He's got a mustache. All you got to do is dye it gray.
Jesus Christ. Oh, boy.
But y'all have pretty much said what there is to say. Just to give some statistics behind Arthur Smith's tendencies. In his last 5 years, as either OC for the Tennessee Titans in 2019 to 2020, or his last 3 years in Atlanta, 4 out of those 5 years, his teams are top 10 in rushing attempts and rushing yards, as well as top 5 in yards per attempt in 3 of those seasons. So that bodes well for hopefully Najee's and Jalen Warren's capabilities. But again, like you said, Nate, got to beef up the offensive line, and just kind of looking at some of the prospects that we got on the offensive line. Obviously, we're not going to get Fashanu or Joe Alt. Those guys are probably going to go top 12, if not top 10. But, a guy like, excuse me, I had his name, Amarius Mims or Talise Fauga. I hope I'm saying his name right. Or even a guy as far down as J.C. Latham, who I believe is the 6th ranked offensive lineman in this draft. Probably got to go offensive line in this draft if you're hiring Arthur Smith as your OC. If that's the direction that you're going to take. Your defense has proven they can win bending but not breaking. They gave up a lot of yards. They gave up a lot of yards last season. They were 21st in the league in terms of yards given up. But they didn't let up a whole lot of points, and they forced a lot of turnovers, especially, when who was in there, Mr. Watt. So it just has me thinking that we're going to go O-line in the first round. And if we don't, it better be a cornerback.
Yeah.
I'll just say that much.
Yeah. Corner or defensive tackle, I think, is the only other position just to.
Yeah. Potentially a D tackle. Yeah. Because you got to eventually prepare for Cam. Probably going to retire soon. He will be back next season, but his time's coming. It'll be his 13th year, or was this year's 13th year?
It'll be year 14 or 15. I think he's going to be 35
14.
Season. And at a position like that, that's very uncommon. So
yeah, and it'll be nice too if we get another guy with our young core with Benton in there as well. He had a really good season.
But that's all I had, boys. Trevor has his Trevor. I forget the name of the damn thing every time we do the show.
It's pretty easy. It's just what's more likely.
What's more likely? Trevor's taking over.
More likely, yeah.
And then Nate's following suit. All right, go
yes,
ahead,
sir.
boys.
Yes, sir. So I'll be playing the role of Mr. Chris Brockman, and you guys will be Rich Eisen and T.J. Jefferson. Take your pick as to who you guys want. So I got a little bit touching on the Super Bowl, not going too deep into it. I think we'll do that next week. Some stuff leading into the off season, and something Jerry Jones said as well regarding his Cowboys and their chances next season. So, as well as some NBA and college football here, just kind of looking forward with those. So, what's more likely? The Chiefs don't score in the fourth quarter and win, or the San Francisco 49ers don't score in the fourth quarter and win? Talking the Super Bowl.
I'm going 49ers all day.
I think it's more likely that the Chiefs don't score in the fourth quarter and win. The way that they're playing right now is just out of this world.
Yes.
And Andy Reid's been there so many times. Pacheco runs the ball really well. They can milk the clock. If you get one turnover, they might milk off 6 to 8 minutes. and then punt it. And, it's very, I think I just see that. I just see it definitely way more. And I could also see them playing from ahead because they've done that in recent games, and the 49ers have played from behind in recent games. So that's kind of my logic for it. So I think if it's going to be more likely, it's going to be the Chiefs giving up or scoring 0 points and still winning in the fourth quarter.
You followed my exact train of thought, Nate. The Chiefs have shown recent history of doing this. I mean, geez, they just did it in the AFC Championship and won. That should tell you all you need to know about how Spags is doing on the defensive side of the ball and how good at playing with a lead the Chiefs are now, especially now that they have a run game and they just know how to milk that clock, man. They just know how to milk that clock. So I'm going Chiefs as well. What's more likely? Someone breaks the Super Bowl record for receiving yards, which is currently held by Jerry Rice at 215 yards. He actually had that in Super Bowl 23. That was the Niners-Bengals one. Or a non-quarterback throws a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's happened 5 times, and it happened most recently with Joe Mixon in Super Bowl 56 a couple of years ago.
Second one. Sorry, Nate. I didn't mean a long wind there. Kelsey.
Can see Kelsey doing it?
Gotcha play. Yep.
Yeah. Andy Reid's creativity down near the goal line. Yeah.
I agree with DB because these are 2 offensive-minded coaches. I think each of those teams with 2 weeks to prepare could definitely come out with one of those wrinkles. Definitely agree with DB. Kelsey was a quarterback in high school, even came into University of Cincinnati as a quarterback before transitioning to tight end. So, he's been known to do that sort of thing. I also think that they could possibly trust Hardman possibly off a reverse pass potentially, but that's much more unlikely than Kelsey. But on the other side of things, McCaffrey's thrown touchdown passes in the past. I think that's another guy that may have the potential to do that. He's done it in the past. I mean, I think there was a game where he threw one, rushed for one, and caught one in the past. So very elite company there. So yeah, I think that's and I think we're going to see the football run too much to have that many receiving yards. But if there is someone that could get like 215 receiving yards, it would have previously been Tyreek Hill with the Chiefs, but that's not happening anymore. So I would possibly say Brandon Ayuk because he's just takes up off the defense, catches a couple bombs. That'd be my most likely person. But good luck giving up a lot of those big plays on the Chiefs defense, especially when Ladarius Sneed's probably going to be following Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel around most of the game, I think. So.
Yes, absolutely. Again, you guys hit the nail on the head with what I was thinking. I think it's more likely that we see a gadget play. We see something with Kelsey, something potentially with McCaffrey, or even someone else if they bring in a different running back. I think McKinnon's thrown passes in the past too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
You could add that wrinkle in, and he hasn't been utilized a whole lot lately. I'll just say that. So the 49ers maybe not preparing for that, and I don't know. I think we could see that. I think that would be exciting. One of the more popular prop bets in the Super Bowl, ironically, is the coin toss. So I will ask you guys what's more likely, heads or tails. And I will preface this with saying the all-time lead goes to tails right now. It's 30-27, so pretty close to 50-50. But I did read a little article right before the show here that said the quarter, as it's normally made with a winged eagle on the back. Of course, Super Bowls have their special game quarters or whatever. But the normal quarter, the head side just weighs slightly more. And so experts say, and yes, there's experts on this, by the way, and this is how fiendish I am with this crap. Experts say it's more of a 50.8 to 49.2 chance that it's going to be tails, the coin rotating and landing on the heavier heads side, and obviously facing up tails. So heads or tails, boys?
Tails never fails, and I've also heard that about tails. So I pick tails every single opportunity that I have to in any of these. So I'm picking tails. However, I did see that of the last 10 coin tosses, the winner has lost 9 of the 10 Super Bowls. So
Correct.
not
Yes.
look there. So I'd go tails if you're looking to win and trying to snap this streak. I think that's more of a fluke than anything because I don't know.
It's just a coincidence that people like to point out. I like to think anyway.
I just remember my 10-year-old body losing my mind watching Mythbusters when they did this on their TV show.
Yes.
Shout out to the original crew, not the fucking crew now.
No, yes, the OGs. Yeah, of course.
They did heads, and ever since then, Trevor, even on man, I go heads. So heads all day. Yeah.
Going heads?
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
I'll put that bet in on FanDuel on next Sunday.
Yep. Okay. I think you get minus 110 on FanDuel. Yeah, you get slightly minus. Some sports books you get plus 100 on each. That way, they essentially break even with it.
Right.
Yeah, just thought I'd toss that little wrinkle in there. I'm gonna go tails. Tails never fails. And plus, I gotta trust the science here. It's a 50.8 to 49.2 chance. So I'm gonna go tails. Jerry Jones made some comments earlier this week. I believe it was on a Dallas radio show. His team will be primed and ready for a playoff run next season. So of course I gotta ask. I got to bring up the Cowboys. I know I'm just a regular ESPN troglodyte right now, but indulge me for a second, if you will.
Yes, sir.
What's more likely, the Cowboys miss the playoffs next season or make their first NFC Championship game since the 95 season?
Right here.
Right there. Right there. They're missing playoffs, though. Missing playoffs?
Mike, Nate, when we've said it, Trevor, we've said it. I'll tell you right now, this offseason, hey, Jerry, who the hell is going to be the coach?
I know McCarthy's going to be up there for first coach fired. He's going to be up there, but
hey, this guy just listen. I understand before he dies, he wants to see his goddamn Cowboys in the Super Bowl. But listen to me, you got to be a realist here. You guys choke. You got to stop letting McCarthy get his KFC bucket. All right, until that ends, I don't see shit happen. They don't make the playoffs, Trevor.
Oh, dude, this is a really tough one to me because Mike McCarthy.
You're welcome, by the way. You're welcome.
He doesn't miss the playoffs. Like he just doesn't.
Right.
However, unfortunately, and I hope I'm not cursing anybody. We've seen some big time injuries from Cowboys in the past at the quarterback position, both from this guy and the previous guy. So I'm hoping that never happens. I personally like Dak Prescott. I personally like Tony Romo, but each of these guys have had catastrophic injuries in their career, and Dak, I think, has had maybe twice where he's missed an extended period of time in his career. And what I'm getting to is if you miss time with a player of Dak's caliber, you're in trouble.
Yep.
You're in trouble. Mm-hmm. So, I think at this exact moment, it's probably more likely that they miss the playoffs than make the NFC Championship game. But they're very close to me because they still have a very good roster. One thing right now is it's a little too early to tell because Dan Quinn might end up being the next head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. So they might be losing him, but that might hurt them, but it also might help them because he knows how to lose some big games too. The double doink and then blowing that freaking huge game, give 48 points against the Packers this first round. So he knows about choking in big games. So, they're a nice little tandem made in heaven there down in Dallas at the moment. So, yeah, I think it's probably more likely they miss it, especially because that division should be better. I know Washington's a stink sandwich right now, but
horrible.
But the Giants should be a little bit better, you'd think, and the Eagles should be good, and the Cowboys play a first place schedule, so that's what also plays into my decision slightly too.
Yeah. I'm with you both. Going 3 for 3 again. I think we've gone 3 for 3 in pretty much each. Drew did pick heads. He did pick heads. Yeah, he did pick heads. So we've gone 3 for 3 other than the coin toss. But no, I'm with you guys. I think it's more likely the Cowboys give us an early Christmas present and miss the playoffs rather than choking in the playoffs and giving us, bringing us Christmas twice. As much as I like, settling into the new year and then being overjoyed by watching the Cowboys choke in the playoffs, I'd like an early Christmas present this year. I think that's more likely to happen, especially like you said, Nate, if they suffer some key injuries. God forbid one of their stars gets hurt. I don't ever want to see a guy get injured, but it might happen. And the Cowboys, they've honestly had some good injury luck these past couple of seasons, but they just still haven't been able to get over the hump. Leighton Vander Esch aside, of course.
Yeah, and then Trayvon Diggs this year too. Those were pretty bad. But
that is true. Pretty high profile ones, but in terms of volume, thankfully, not a lot, just really high, big time players. They're getting hurt, but is the way it is. So we touched on Mr. Arthur Smith and what the Steelers offense might look like this upcoming season. And yes, Nate, I'm bringing him up again. You're going to have to talk about him twice in the same show. I'm sorry. I can see your face right now, just shaking your head, moaning and groaning at me. You can moan and groan at me later actually, you can moan and groan at me twice here because I got two questions about it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. Oh, I know. What's more likely? The Steelers have a top 10 rushing attack next season or a top 10 defense in terms of yardage? Bear in mind, they were 21st in terms of defensive yardage. And then they were actually 13th in their rushing attack.
Yeah, for me, that's simple. I think that it's going to be top 10 rushing attack. And they're going to hope they have that because I'm telling you this right now. If they don't, they're freaking screwed. They're freaking screwed. They're doing nothing.
Facts. Absolutely.
Because guess what? And I'll tell you, it'll be incredibly impressive if they have a top 10 rushing attack because of this fact right here. The AFC North run defense overall and the three teams that we play are three of the top few in the league. They're all really freaking good. Good. So but this is what I'm also going to say right here. I think we have way more holes on defense than we care to admit. And I think that when you're also facing the likes of Lamar Jackson, who has proven he can throw it all over the place, Joe Burrow in your own division, and if Deshaun Watson ever comes back to what he used to be, that would be scary too, but I don't think he will. But they still have some weapons, and Njoku had an amazing way to end this season. Amari Cooper is, an all-world receiver to me. So, and they're going to hope they have a top 10 rushing attack. So I'm going to go with that. I still think that they're going to give up their fair share of yards. I just think their cornerback position is too weak. So that's what I think that they'll do. They'll be a top 10 rushing attack next season.
Trevor, I'm going to have to agree with Nate on that. Top 10 rushing attack. Terrell Austin, whatever the hell his name is, I can't stand them. Should not be hired as defense coordinator. Terrible. I don't give a shit. I listened to Dan Rooney's little speech today. Oh, well, we had injuries at the middle linebacker. No, I don't give a shit. And we should have guys in position, not pulling Miles Jack, who's cleaning my toilet last week, come on to the field. I don't believe
Nate mentioned Blake Martinez that scammed people out of $5 million worth of Pokemon cards.
Yeah. The Pokemon Con.
The Pokemon Con, though he never did make the active roster. He was only ever on practice squad. But that aside, go ahead, Drew. I'm interrupting your rant again.
No, that's
the active roster. He did. He was
active.
He
did? Did he play or did he just dress?
I believe he played. One game, I believe he played for sure. I'm pretty certain on that.
I'm misremembering that. My apologies.
I'm pretty sure he played one game, but was mostly practice squad. But still, the fact of the matter is, he even had to have him and Miles Jack, who retired for the goofiest reasons, come back. Like and it's not Austin's fault. They just had so many freaking injuries.
Right.
But still,
it's not all his fault. But yeah,
Go ahead. I can't stand just. And it just seems like and I'm not attacking the Rooneys. They're one of the best. I don't want a long rant here because we got other shit to talk about. But it just seems like Dan's just sitting back. Like, we got a fuck show. Like, this is terrible. And he's like, oh, well, it's in Mike's hands. Mike's going to make these decisions. Okay, so he goes and gets Arthur Smith. Okay, that's great. Bring him in. Oh, okay. Like I told you guys, another 10-7 season. Is that the pedigree? Like, is that the guy Bradshaw getting his ass whooped and win 4 Super Bowls for us? And then I understand we might be going through the 80s here. Our fathers went through it. I don't want to go through that.
The 80s was worse than this.
Yeah, but I don't want to fucking even
look at the stats. The 80s was worse than this.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. I'm really, when I see Arthur Smith and then right after that, I listen to Dan's press conference from yesterday or little interview thing. And it's like, this guy doesn't give a shit. Like, that's not, I don't know. They're still one of the most respectful families and ownership. I'm not degrading the Rooneys by any means. I'm a fucking Steeler fan through and through.
Yeah.
But it's just whatever. I don't know.
Drew, and I always love to bring up my dad on this program because he's the reason I'm a diehard Steelers fan. He said this about the 80s. He said, thank God I had Def Leppard because the Steelers would have killed me and you would have never been born.
Right. Yeah.
That's how bad the 80s were.
Oh, shit. Well, I don't know.
Not that bad, but no, I'm with you, DB. I'm very intrigued by Art the second, right? In the last year or so.
No, Art the second, my bad. I apologize.
Yeah, he did make subtle comments like Mike's got to get this right because he missed out big time.
And it even takes a lot for the brass to say that.
Absolutely.
They're usually
they are.
Hush, let things go, patience. Yep. You can only be so patient, and Art the Second's proven that.
He said he wants a dang Super Bowl, or he wants to get closer than what we've been. What's going on in the last 8 years is not acceptable to him, and I'm with him. I agree. Right. They've made a lot of questionable decisions. He has too. He's given Mike a lot of power to make hiring, to call the defense, but and then they also let a GM draft on the way out the door. Like, who does that? That will never sit right with me, no matter what happens.
I'm right there with you. Right there with you.
Terrible. And he drafted like crap.
He did.
You weren't even in it. Your heart wasn't in it. You're retiring. Get out of there. If you're retiring, then retire. Get out of there.
I said a million times, gave Ben a goddamn rookie center his last season. Oh, God.
Bad one.
I mean, it's just, and we've been spoiled, boys. Okay, I got to be honest.
Yes, that's
I know. People later on or right now, I'm not even looking at the comments or saying, "Oh, well, shut the hell up. You've been spoiled." Listen, or Steeler fans bitching again. Look at this. No, we've been spoiled, but there's just a certain level of respect the black and gold have. Watch Troy Polamalu's fucking Hall of Fame speech, and you tell me you don't get teary-eyed if you're a Steeler fan or a fan of football. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about Trevor. Move on. Just go on to the next.
I knew I was gonna start something with this. I should know anytime I bring up the word Steelers, we're gonna find some branch to go off on, and we found another one, but. One more Steelers thing, and then I think I got some other sports coming down the pike here.
All right.
So,
sorry, boys.
We also know Arthur Smith has a tight end coach's background on top of being very proficient and very aggressive at rushing the football. So I'm curious to see what you guys' opinion is on this one. What's more likely? Steelers tight end with more red zone targets next season. More likely that it's Muth or Darnell?
Muth. Darnell is lost out there at the moment. But I'll tell you what, watching the way Kyle Pitts was handled with Arthur Smith the last 3 years, I'm terrified if I'm a tight end in Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah.
That's fair. Good point.
I'm terrified if I'm a pass catcher because he didn't use London and he didn't use Pitts. He didn't use A.J. Brown. He didn't use a lot of people to their extent, So I think if I'm a pass catcher with Pittsburgh, I'm being like, you know what, this ain't it for me again. But I'll tell you this right now, they can be pissed about that, but ultimately we know why they should actually be pissed, because they don't have a dang quarterback worth it.
Right.
No offense to Mason, you played fine, but I don't think he's going to be there. I'm pretty confident he's not. I think
he might go get a deal somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm pretty dang convinced, 99.9%. Actually, I am personally 100% convinced that Kenny Pickett's not our guy, and they're hiding him, and that's why Arthur Smith is hired, so they can hide him, because that's what they did when they had Ryan Tannehill and Mariota. They hire him so that he can supplement it and hide the bad quarterback play.
Yeah.
We've seen it. So, yeah, to me, I'm terrified if I'm a tight end for the Steelers. Muth to me, Washington's is a mystery box still. He makes some dumb penalties. He's kind of uncoordinated. I think he's got a lot of upside, but at this moment, that's all it is to me. And Pat's our cornerstone tight end and should be and he is for a reason. But yeah, I'm shaking my boots if I'm any of them, honestly. Knowing Arthur Smith, I wouldn't even be surprised if Connor Hayward had the most touchdowns of all our tight ends, because why wouldn't he?
He's running backside reverses with Jonnu Smith. Why not Connor Hayward, right?
That's what I'm saying.
That's the key. Maybe I should have put Muth, Darnell, or Connor. Yeah. Maybe that's what I should have done.
And best athlete, I think, of all of them. Muth's a really good athlete, but Hayward, he can run out of the backfield. He can play out wide. He can play in the slot as a tight end. He can play on the line. He can do everything. And he doesn't do it amazingly. He's undersized, but he's able to do it. He's that good of an interchangeable athlete to be able to do that. So don't be surprised if he's someone that they wrinkle in more again next year. I wouldn't be shocked.
Right. Well, yeah, I got to agree with Nate. Firemuth is the cornerstone. He's the second coming of Heath. Not close to Heath. Okay, I'm going to specify that. Not close to Heath. Okay, but he is our modern Heath. He needs to stop taking those goddamn concussions, though. First off.
Yeah.
But honestly, Trevor, yeah, Muth will be the red zone target if we're talking tight end. But you got a 6'8" goddamn freak. Throw him the goddamn ball. I love how
I'm not in disagreement. He needs to work on his footwork a little bit, but yeah, go ahead.
But I mean, he's running around. I don't know, like his shoes are tied together. But the other thing is, they teased us in the offseason, and I don't know who released it, but they have Darnell being guarded by Minka, and we're like, oh my God, he's a freak. I think we talked about it in the summer, and then.
Oh, yeah. He's making one-handed catches, toe-tapping catches against JPJ and the like, and we're all getting hyped for it, thinking, oh, he's going to get a ton of targets. We're going to throw the ball to him. Nope.
You threw it to him 10 times. He's as tall as LeBron fucking James, and you threw it to him 10 times.
It's because he couldn't figure out the playbook, dude. I'm telling you.
God.
You can be the greatest athlete in the world if you don't know the playbook. You got to.
Well, you got a clown
that's
up
just
there.
The way it's going to go. Yeah.
You got Cannon up there going like this with his nose honk honk because he's a clown. He don't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know how to teach football. And you got boys, Trevor, I don't mean to hijack your thing here, but have you seen freak athletes like this with the freak athleticism that they have? That just they're wasting. They're wasting.
Every year. How about Hopkins getting trapped in Houston for all those years, and despite whoever threw him the ball, he still put it back. And then you have this year with the Falcons, and last year with the Falcons, and the year before with the Falcons. I mean, come on, man! Like it happens all the time. We saw it on our team this year. Pickens, one of the best athletes in the NFL, not get used at all or misused completely. We saw with Randy Moss with the Raiders. I mean, goodness gracious, we had the arguably the second, third best wide receiver of all time. Couldn't get the ball there. Devontae Adams until they changed the coach. He's another one that got trapped. So yeah, I mean we see this all the time. And the thing about those guys I even mentioned, they know the playbook too, and they can also pocket their possession, at their position. So this is nothing new. It's just, to me, it's a Pittsburgh media who I personally don't personally love a lot of them. Some of them are very good, but some of them are very deceiving. Hyping up these plays in a practice in a dumb setting when it's pretty much like 7-on-7s and
padding news
pads, and it's like, okay, great, but what can you do when you get to the next level? It's like hyping the guy up when they're balling at the LA Fitness and stuff. You're hitting a bunch of threes, you're dunking, and then you get to the next stage and you're just not that dude, and Darnell Washington's a great athlete, no question. He has a ton of upside, but he's got to figure out the intricacies that it takes to play in the NFL. Okay. And that's what he's missing, truly, to me. So, yeah.
I just got to throw out there, we were talking about Kyle Shanahan's coaching tree. Let's look at Tomlin's draft pick tree in the NFL right now. Like
in recent years,
just player, whatever. Sorry, Trevor. I just fucking hijacked you there. I apologize. You throw Steelers and Arthur Smith.
I know. And I don't even think I answered this question. Or I don't think I answered the last two questions. So I'll answer them now. I'll say the rushing attack, top 10, yes. And then I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Darnell figures it out. Figures out the play.
Oh, all right. Well, I hope you're right, because that would be a huge supplement.
I literally think, like you said, Nate, I think that is all he needs to work on. He has the athletic skills. He has the size. He's a freak. He has the potential to be a freak, but he's got to figure out the playbook. He's got to figure that out. And if he figures that out, he can be a lethal force in the red zone. And partially to Arthur Smith's tendency to use the backup tight end. Just throwing that out there too. But anyway, are we good with Steelers talk? Are we good with that? Are we good?
Okay. I apologize.
Okay. Until next week, right? Well, though I'll throw something out there for you. Anyway, so the inevitable was prolonged a little bit with this particular hire, but it's still, happened as pretty much we all expected. Mr. Harbaugh to the Chargers. Mm-hmm. And so I have to ask, what's more likely here? Michigan to repeat as national champions, or the Chargers reach the AFC title game next year?
I will say confidently that the Los Angeles Chargers have a better shot of reaching the NFL versus Michigan, because they're going to lose out on transfers. The Big Ten has improved.
Yes.
There's a ton of other good teams that are very. I mean, Ohio State just brought in the freaking King's ransom just to beat Michigan finally. So, I mean, they might not even make. I mean, they're probably going to make the college football play. But you think about who's leaving.
It is 12 now. It's expanded.
Yeah, but think about who's leaving. McCarthy, Corum. One receiver who I'm blanking on his name at the moment, who is pretty decent. And,
I forget his name too. I saw an interview with him at the Senior Bowl today.
Gone.
Yep.
Much of their line's gone. All their transfers have not left yet. But Coach Moore is a good coach, so I'm not going to discredit him. And I think there's going to be more people that stay than don't stay, surprisingly, I think, because Coach Moore is a really, really good coach. He's just a young guy and hasn't had much opportunity. But no, I really
and they rallied behind him for when Harbaugh was suspended as well. So
for sure. Yeah. But I mean, think about it. This team is not that much different than the team that made the playoffs the year before. We have the Broncos who are in a weird period. The Raiders are in a weird period. The Chiefs may break up after this year. Andy Reid's rumored to possibly retire. Travis Kelce, I think, is contemplated retirement. Patrick Mahomes' contract keeps getting more expensive.
They have to keep restructuring it. It's ridiculous how many times they've done that already.
Yeah. Chris Jones could go get a bag somewhere else. Tony is crazy. What else can we add to the list of things? But no, I think Harbaugh is a good coach. I think he could possibly turn this around pretty quickly. And I think there's going to be some free agents that come there to play for him pretty quickly. And not to mention, it's pretty hard to repeat as national champions in football. And in a couple of years, I think we might not even have this conversation because they're going to be the unofficial, I think, national champions potentially. They might not have that title. They won it on the grass, but in the record book, may no longer be theirs potentially. Just speculating. I still think they'll be national champions.
USC knows how you feel, so it's fine.
Exactly. So, I mean, we'll see there, just all speculation at this point. But, if some of the things are true, then that's potentially what could happen. But, yeah, I'm going to go Chargers. I think that's more likely. There's a lot of stacked on Michigan, I think, right now.
I'm not sold on Herbert. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I know he got hurt. He's a hell of a ball player. But there's a cloud over the Chargers organization.
Yeah, that's fair.
Since the days of letting Drew Brees go too early in Philip Rivers' era, I feel more confident about Michigan. I don't think
it's interesting. Yeah,
Jim, right? Yeah, I get those two.
Jim, John's with the Radbirds.
He's a great coach, but I don't think first year, but a year and a half success. I think it's going to be some growing pains. Mm-hmm.
I kind of had a tough time as I was even writing this one. I know I've been throwing out some doozies here, and I might this might be the pinnacle, but it's going to be tough. Either way, it's going to be tough because if the Chiefs do stick together, Andy Reid comes back, Mahomes, Kelsey, all those guys, then you have to go through the Chiefs to get to the AFC Championship game. A lot of it hinges on that, my answer to this question. Yeah. I'm going in assuming that Andy Reid retires and this team starts to break up a little bit. I'm with you, Nate. Chargers making the AFC title game slightly more likely.
Yep.
I think they have a propensity to go on runs whenever they want to. At least they've had, as long as Herbert's been there. This past season didn't go the way anybody expected it to go for them. But I think they could have a pretty quick turnaround. Harbaugh's known for doing that. And he delivers on his promise of winning. I'll just say that about the guy. Scandals aside, he delivers on his promises of winning. So, okay. Kind of pitting my college teams within this segment here. And then I'll move on. I got some NBA talk right after this, just to kind of, get us into the flow of talking about that. Most likely to win a college football playoff game in 2024, Notre Dame or Penn State?
Notre Dame. I didn't have to think about it.
Thank you.
Notre better coached. They'll be ready. They've taken their lumps, learned from their lumps. They have
I had to say it.
Coming in. I think they have a stronger team coming back, in my opinion. I didn't have to think about that at all. I don't believe in James Franklin at all. And I'm a big Marcus Freeman fan. And I also think that now the new Big Ten is more difficult for Penn State. So they could very well still miss out on the sucker. Don't put it past James to do so. We've seen it enough.
That is an excellent point. We know his record against top 10 teams. I think he has maybe 1 or 2 wins against top 10 teams in his career, something like that.
I think he's got like 6 or 7. He's got one of them on the road, and he's only beat ranked teams consecutively once. That's all telling to me. So I personally believe it'll be Notre Dame to win a playoff game. And I'm going to say this. Their schedule is very much favorsome now because they play a lot of ACC teams. And that conference is going through it, less budget.
Yeah.
So
Florida State's leaving, Yep.
And there's a lot of questions at Penn State still too. New OC, new DC. Is Drew Aller the guy? Do they start Bo? Losing 2 top corners, losing the number one lineman in the country. What are they going to do with both of these running backs? How are they going to handle it? What are they going to do in the wide receiver room? I know they got Julian Fleming and Keandre Lambert-Smith's coming back. Are they going to integrate the tight ends more? There's so many questions. Notre Dame, I feel like they know what they're going to try to do next year. Penn State is all over the map. Lost 2 coordinators in a matter of weeks. So Notre Dame seems like the easy pick to me.
Trevor, through our friendship here, you've made me begin to believe in Notre Dame. I just, watching Franklin crumble, it's like, holy shit. So, go Notre Dame. Yeah.
Oh, boys, I appreciate it. And
I just hate it.
I have. Oh no, crap! I was wearing my cross earlier. I took a shower after getting a haircut earlier. I took it off.
Right.
I was gonna yank it out and say, "May the Lord be with you."
Got you, buddy.
That's where you guys say, "And also with you." But yes, I'm. It's more a case of me being out on James Franklin than it is on me being all in on Notre Dame, because I saw what Notre Dame had to go through this past season. Granted, yes, tough schedule. That 4-week stretch where they had to play 4 straight ranked teams at night, twice on the road. Brutal. I'm amazed I didn't get a heart murmur because of that 4-week stretch. That was a tough
Jesus.
It was stressful, man. I'm telling you, it was stressful. But like you said, Nate, he's going to have the easier schedule. Penn State's going to be in the much, much, much tougher conference this year, especially with some of the West Coast teams coming into that. And James Franklin can't win against good teams. That's just it. That's just it for me. Bit of a bait question on that one, but I figured I'd toss it out there, see if anyone gave Penn State any semblance of a shot, and my hunch was correct.
Can we get good wide receivers?
We have good wide receivers. We don't know how to unlock them.
I mean, Jesus.
Last year, I don't think we had we had no pure number one.
That is true. Yeah, as good as Lambert Smith was. Yeah.
He was pretty good. He faded so hard at the end. He couldn't get open.
He did.
We did not use our number 2 receiver didn't know the playbook. The number 2 receiver that came to be the number 2 receiver was hurt every other game. So no, I'm with Notre Dame. And I'm going to list off their schedule. This is going to reaffirm my thought on this.
Notre Dame schedule?
Yeah. Listen to this lineup. It's very favorable to Notre Dame this year. Very, very
good, because you just went through one of the most brutal schedules. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So Texas A&M, that's tough to start, but Texas A&M's going through. So
that is true. That is true. Just fired their coach too.
I believe they got Northern Illinois, Purdue, the worst team in the Big Ten this year. Miami, Ohio, Louisville, who will not be as good next year, I promise. Stanford, who is going to, what are they going to, the Big Ten or something? I mean,
I honestly forget. I know where the high level Pac-12 teams went. I don't know where Stanford went.
They might went to the ACC. So that shows what they think of their football program.
That makes total sense. The All Coast Conference, they're going to.
So, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, who should be very good, but they did lose a lot of players to transfer.
They did. Had a lot of seniors,
Virginia, who is rebuilding, and then USC, who gives up a bazillion points in yards. So,
and we smoked their ass last year in USC. So,
and it's at USC this year.
Oh, so, or is it at? Or no, we smoked them at home. My bad. Yeah.
So
that was at Notre Dame Stadium.
To me. There's 3 games that they could lose. To me, looking at it right now, A&M, Florida State, and USC. But I think that with all the shambles at A&M, even if it's at A&M, they can win that game. And I think they still have very good chances against Florida State and USC. So even if they lose 3 games, they might still get in it because of their strength of schedule. So yeah. Penn State's is a little tougher for sure.
Right. Okay. More on to NBA here, and I literally read this just right before the show started. Jason Kidd went on a local Dallas radio show and alluded to the fact that Luka Doncic is already the Mavs GOAT. Said, and I quote, is in the same atmosphere of LeBron, Kobe, and MJ.
Okay, first off,
Yeah. So I'm not taking it there. I'm taking it here. I'm not taking it to 11. I'm bringing it down to like a 7. What's more likely? Luka becomes the all-time GOAT of Mavs basketball, or Dirk remains that until the end of time?
Nate, I gotta go because my fucking blood's boiling.
Go on.
If anybody is a fan of basketball, okay, I played a number of years in my life, Park League, not anywhere, respectable games, but the level of I watched an NBA game a couple nights ago, and I watched and I said, "What the fuck is this? There's no defense. There's no defense, boys." Okay, no, and I'm not discrediting Embiid scoring 70. Was it 70 or 73?
70. Luka.
70. 70. I believe Cat scored. Yeah, Lucas was 73. Cat scored 62. Booker scored 62.
Right.
I'm not discrediting those guys' performance. You still got to put the ball in the rim. But what Dirk played against the fucking probably the best era of basketball, came over here. He was weird looking 19-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid. In a position that did not have the fucking ball in his hand at all times. No, I'm sorry. Dirk is one of the best European players of all. He is the greatest European player of all time. Except that that guy from Brazil that has, I don't know who he is, Nate. I saw a documentary on him.
Yeah. I mean, there's that guy
except
that scored a billion points, but yeah, he didn't play in the NBA or anything. He stayed in Brazil. I forget his name, but
yeah, but you cannot compare.
No. Well, I mean, right now, I would say it's very bold of Jason Kidd.
Right.
DB's right, though, about one thing specifically is the era that Dirk played in was probably the best power forward era of all time. Think about who he played against. I mean, he played at Karl Malone at the end, who is fantastic. He played against, Charles Barkley a little bit at the end. I know it was very much at the tail end. And then he played against Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan, their whole primes, with them, and competing against them, he still got a ring. He competed against the Spurs dynasty, the Lakers dynasty. He beat the Heat dynasty on a team that was very, they overachieved for sure. It wasn't the best.
One of the greatest playoff runs in NBA history. A lot of people say, yeah.
Absolutely. And his run individually was amazing. Made like 50 plus in a row, free throws, almost 30 points a night, close to 10 rebounds on that whole run to the finals. And then won finals MVP, won an MVP of the league before, 30,000 points, top few scorer of all time. But Jason Kidd, I think, just phrased it poorly.
Okay.
I think
he did. If you do watch the whole interview, there was a lot of cherry picking with the media going on there, but yeah.
I think it was a poor way to say it. I think that there's no denying still at this point that Dirk is definitely the Mavericks GOAT. There's no doubt.
Of course.
All the stats are there. What he's brought the franchise that has not really been a fantastic franchise in their history. A lot of playoff wins, a championship, other appearances, even if they didn't win the whole thing, an MVP. He changed that whole franchise, and him and Cuban, were two of the, guys that did it, and others helped as well for sure. But Carlisle obviously is their coach for a while there. But and Don Nelson, when he was the coach, did some great things too. Yeah. But seriously, that's a bold thing to say. But I'm with him on this. If Luka Doncic continues this pace, he is going to be up there with some of the all-time greats. Truthfully, scoring volume is there. This year, he's almost averaging a triple-double. I mean, his assists are there, his rebounds are there. Mm-hmm. He does everything very well. So I'm with him that he has the potential to be one of those all-time greats, and he has definitely the potential to be the Mavericks all-time greatest player. But right now, that's not a debate to me.
No.
So I just think it was certainly probably charity. I didn't see the whole interview, and I hope he clears things up, or hopefully people say like, look, here's the whole thing. This is crap, because
Yeah. No. Well, people's attention spans, Nate. All they have to see is that buzz phrase, and yeah. I mean, we saw how Drew reacted. So
yeah.
What?
Yeah. And the other thing about it is, for him to say that again about his former teammate,
That's what I'm saying.
would be very, he's played with Dirk, so for him to slight him like that seems very unlikely, especially because Dirk never slights anybody else unless it's behind closed doors. We don't know that, but never in the public image like that. He's always been very quiet and particular about it. I mean, goodness, he could have went to the Lakers in his career and never said a word about it because he didn't want to slight the Mavericks and didn't want anybody to know. And he finally told that story years after he retired.
Oh yeah. He could have made a shit ton more money and probably won more titles too, but he didn't chase that.
He didn't chase that. He was loyal to Dallas. He was loyal to Mark Cuban teammates that were there for years with him. So yeah, it's just a weird. I think it's a mix up. I truly think it's a mix up.
I hope because yeah.
Go ahead, Drew. Sorry.
I just got to throw out there. A lot of your latter assists of your career was because of that man's hands. You passed him the ball, and he did his beautiful fadeaway jumper. And he also basically gave you a fucking ring. So let's calm down with that, Jason. Okay.
Yeah. So we're both on Dirk remaining the GOAT
for now.
Yep. The
for
potential
now?
is there. The potential is there for Luka to certainly be that. However, there's also potential for Luka to go get one of the richest contracts in North American sports history.
Of course, yes, yeah. Go to a bigger market and kill it.
Because I believe Mark Cuban's going to be getting out.
He is getting
the Mavs,
and he's going to be like more of an advisor than anything. So
I believe he'll still remain minority owner from what I've read, but he won't have the majority share anymore.
Yeah. So
just got to watch that. Just got to watch what happens.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you both again. You can't argue with the guy that brought you your franchise's only title and competed with against some of the best basketball teams of all time. And that legendary 2011 playoff run. I don't know if that'll be matched.
No.
I don't know if that'll be matched. Yeah, very few runs like that. So I'm with you guys on Dirk. I know I'm echoing a lot of you guys' comments. You guys say it all. I love it. Make my job very easy. That's all literally all I got to do is say 10 words. You guys talk for 20 minutes, and I get to stir the pot. I enjoy it. Oh yeah. More of a kind of going into the awards side of things so far. Sixth man of the year. More likely sixth man of the year, Tim Hardaway Jr. or the field. Right now, Malik Monk is really the only guy in striking distance. Hardaway plus 100 to win the award. Malik Monk at plus 220.
Yeah, it would take a big collapse from Hardaway probably not to get it. So, yeah, I think it's probably going to be him barring injury. I do.
Him barring injury?
Yeah, barring injury. I think it's him. Mavericks are playing a lot better this year. He's a huge part of what they do. He's got two distributors kick the ball out to him, and he's playing, he's shooting the ball at a really high clip this year. So I'm going to go with Hardaway. He's been due, man. He's had some really good years and some really, really down years, some years with injuries, some years where he's underutilized. They found a path for using him, and he's taken advantage of it. Similarly to Jordan Clarkson a couple of years ago when he finally was starting to get utilized, in a heavy facet coming off the bench, but playing starter minutes. So it's good to see that for Tim Hardaway. He's always been capable like that. So, yeah, I'm going to go with him. I think that barring injury, it's already February. Only got 2 more months to go. So it's going to take a big collapse or somebody like Malik Monk going absolutely nuts and bringing the Kings to, a higher seed to knock him off. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Hardaway for sure.
Got to agree with Nate. I mean, again, I had to look up his stats there, boys. There's a caveat to this. So, but I mean, three games over 30 plus points, and you're averaging 18 points off the bench. That's pretty goddamn good.
That's really good. Yeah,
That's excellent. Yeah.
It seems like a shoe-in, but we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and look up Malik Monk's stats here. I know they're not as good at the moment, but I'd be interested to see the per 36 minutes stat comparison between these two gentlemen.
Yeah, probably not too far away. I think the Mavericks have had a better year than everybody expected them to have, and
this is true.
Certainly, that's credit to Luka, but Kyrie Irving has also had some really, really good games. So
yeah,
had to give credit to them.
Looks like Malik averaging 14.5, 5.5, and 2.5. So
very good.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, still very good. Very good for a 6-man. Actually, has not started a single game in his last 2 years, if you can believe that. Played in 77 games last year, didn't start a single one of them. And this year, 44 games, hasn't started a single one of them.
He's comfortable.
I know Hardaway's. He fits his role, and he averaged 13.5 last year, and then 13, almost 14 the year before that. So he's found his role. He's found his spot. But yeah, both really good role players here. I'm with Hardaway as well. Like you said, Nate, he's due. It's about damn time. He's had better stats than this and missed out on the award before. So yeah. Let's get it to him, shall we? Yeah. That's all I had for NBA talk, boys. We'll probably have more next week, and obviously after the Super Bowl.
I just wanted to add a couple small things about the NBA. Good. We talked about not enough, I don't think, quite, just because we got the All-Star Game starters announced. So wanted to list those off real quick and see what you guys think about. I know there's people that are upset with one Stephen Curry not starting, but I think it's hard to argue when you list the 5 starters in the Western Conference that he get a spot, considering his stats also with the Warriors' performances. And you're probably not taking LeBron James out of the starting lineup. I hate to break it to anybody.
No.
So,
to preface this, Nate, we're back to the West-East format. Yeah. We're back to that again. Good.
That's correct. And thank goodness, because the draft was terrible.
I was not a huge fan of that. That just created unnecessary drama, and it's clickbait for the media.
It was terrible because we have MVPs getting drafted in the last couple rounds. It's like, really?
Just because of
the nature of the
animosity.
Yeah. So the captains are LeBron on the Western Conference side, Giannis on the East. LeBron averaging 25 points, 7.7 assists, 7.4 rebounds. And he will be joined in the starting lineup by Luka Doncic, who's averaging just a tick under 35 points per game, just a tick under 10 assists, and just a tick under 9 rebounds. Kevin Durant, 28 points per game plus, 5.7 assists, 6.4 rebounds. Hard to argue. One of the best players of all time.
Yep.
One of the best pure scorers of all time.
Exactly.
Sorry to interrupt, Nate. Go ahead.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing for, one of the NBA's best teams, the Thunder, 31.3 points, 6.4 rebounds, 5.6 assists. And then rounding out their starting lineup is two-time MVP Nikola Jokic, 26.3 points, 12.1 rebounds, 9 assists per game. So almost averaging a triple. That's a Western Conference side. So do you think Curry got snubbed from the starting lineup? What do you guys think? I mean, we know Curry is arguably, he's not even arguably. He is one of the greatest players to ever play the game. There's no denying it anymore.
Best shooter of all time. It's not a question anymore. It's not. Yeah. Before I answer that question, Nate, I want to ask you a question. I haven't looked at the rosters yet, and I honestly didn't even know they were announced. So that's actually fantastic that's you brought up this point. Is there another member of the Thunder on the All-Star team in the reserves yet, or have the reserves not been announced yet?
I don't think they announced the reserves yet. Just the starters.
Have not announced the reserves yet. Okay, just the 5-on-5. Okay.
Starters.
So, did Curry get snubbed
as a starter?
As a starter, yeah.
Oh, he's 35. Let me look up his stats here. I know age doesn't matter, but
I'm looking him up too. Looks like 27, 4, and 5. I could see the argument.
Yeah.
I could see the argument for honestly both sides. But with the way the Warriors are playing right now as a whole, I can understand why he got left off.
Yep.
Like he's getting all these points. He's still almost 43% from three this season, almost 50% from the field. Still lighting it up, but ultimately it's not helping his team win games, unfortunately to his detriment.
Yeah.
All the guys you named off, Nate, their teams are having overachieving seasons thus far.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the Lakers, but
Maybe not. The Suns are underachieving too, but they're playing better basketball. But
yeah, they're playing better as of late. Recency bias has taken over, and it's KD. It's very hard to argue that one as well.
Yep.
I mean, I'm leaning toward slightly snubbed. I'm leaning towards snubbed from being a starter. It's not a strong opinion on that. If I had to pick a yes or no, yes, I think he did.
Nate, how's this voted again? Is it fans, right?
I believe the players voted for this because our Stephen Adams, who has played exactly 0 minutes this year, got votes from the players. And Giannis's brother, Theonsis, got 3 votes to start too.
Oh,
well,
I wonder from who.
Yeah, me too.
I just gotta. I'm just not a Curry guy. Do I think he's snubbed? Probably. He deserves. I mean, if LeBron's there, then why not Curry? I mean, you got the two, I think, goats of this era right now. So you got to have fucking KD in there, and I'm guessing Embiid's not getting snubbed on these sides, right?
No.
Okay, so everything's okay.
Hell no, we better not.
Then everything's okay in my book. So
yeah. So to touch on how these guys are selected, fans make up 50% of the vote, and then the other half is players, personnel, front office.
Yeah.
So that.
It's a better formula than it's ever been because
correct. Yeah.
Alex Caruso almost got voted into the game a few years ago. And
right, yeah.
He all right. For him, he played fantastic.
Yes, he overachieved. He overachieved, but
come on.
I wonder why he was voted in. I really do.
Lakers, man, they loved him and got him in. He played his butt off, but he did the things that didn't show up on the stat sheet. So
that is true.
He pissed somebody off, Nate.
What's that?
Curry's pissed somebody off.
I mean, it's hard to argue the 5 that they're in there. They're pretty good. So, I don't think he got snubbed from starting. He's going to make the game. I think it's really hard to take KD and Kevin or KD and LeBron off of the starting lineup, no matter where they're at. So
it's hard. Yeah. It's hard not to give it to Luka and honestly SGA as well. So
best team in the league, arguably.
Yeah,
Luka,
I mean,
playing at a great level.
Christ,
and
that team is still loaded with draft capital. Oh my god.
Yep. So going over to the east side, just wanted to mention these guys real quick. These are the starters. Accompanying Giannis, who's the captain, Joel Embiid, 36 points, 11.4 rebounds, and 5.8 assists. Scoring leader in the NBA, rating.
No-brainer.
So he's a no-brainer. Jason Tatum, probably a no-brainer too, playing for the Celtics, best team in the NBA. 27 points, 8.5 rebounds, 4.4 assists. Easy pick. Then it gets dicey, but I think that these guys have played very well. To me, easily, I think Tyrese Halliburton certainly deserved this nod. He's played basketball this year.
Oh, yeah.
23.6 points, 12.6 assists, 4.1 rebounds on a team that wasn't expected to do anything, and he's helped them hang in there, and now they got Pascal Siakam to accompany him, so might make a little run to make it the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win at anything with that crew right now, but I think that they could be building something there for the future that could be pretty good, dependent on a lot of factors. But then rounding out the starting lineup is Damian Lillard, who, despite the head coaching change, played good enough to get the nod in his first year in the East. 25 points per game, 6.8 assists, 4.3 rebounds. He finally got out of the Western Conference that was loaded with guard play and moves over to the East, gets a nod in his first year. So you got to feel good about Dame getting that opportunity. But, yeah, no complaints really overall about who's starting. I think those are, right now, some very, very good players for certain. So that's the starting lineup real quick in a nutshell.
Sorry, Nate. Who did you say right before Dame?
Oh, I said Tyrese Halliburton.
Halliburton. Okay, that's right. Okay, so you got Giannis, you got Embiid, you got Halliburton, you got Dame and Tatum.
Yeah. So hard to argue.
Okay. No, yeah, I have no complaints about that. No complaints about that. Tyrese Maxey will be in that game too.
Yeah, definitely played fantastic.
Yeah, he was borderline starter. He was, to start the season, he got pretty hot. Kind of hit some ebbs and flows since then, but is still doing really well. I don't know his stats offhand, but I know just from watching the game, and this is just from the eye test, his shooting is much improved. And as amazing as his defense was when he got into the NBA, that's improved too. He's really stepped up to be the second option for the Sixers, and I'm really, really happy for him.
Yeah. It's just tough. Only 5 spots. There's so many good players anymore.
No, I know. I know. Yeah.
It's crazy to think that like people like Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler didn't even really get a sniff at starting,
Right. Yeah.
Pretty crazy to think about it. So
did not have that on my bingo card. I'll say that.
Oh, no, for sure. Tyrese Halliburton, the biggest surprise, a nice one. So good for him.
If there was going to be a surprise, I'm glad it's him, because every time he plays the Sixers, I'm very just enthralled by what he's able to do on the court, on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. He can guard pretty much every position but the 5, and he can drive to the basket if he needs to. He can still hit his mid-range game, and he's not too bad from 3 points either.
He's got a goofy shot, but he makes it. Very strange.
He does. Yeah, Sean Marion had a goofy shot, but he made him too. So
no, he's not quite that goofy, but it's
not that goofy. I understand, but yeah, it's still
yeah. So going 2 more things about the NBA real quick.
Yep.
This OG Anunoby trade has been fantastic for the Knicks. They are 9-2 since he's come over, and RJ Barrett to the Raptors. Not really, a homecoming for him, but like more of a supplemental piece just to, help out the Knicks really. So what do you guys know about that? What do you guys think of that trade? I know it did not change the odds of the Knicks winning a championship. Do you think this is something is going to take them further, or do you think it's just maybe beginner's luck with throwing Anunoby in that lineup?
I think getting refreshed is never bad. RJ Barrett was supposed to be the next fucking Kobe, Nate. So
he's not quite that.
No, he never panned out.
He's not.
Very
he is good, but I think it's good to get a new guy in there. And what's his name again?
OG Anunoby.
I hate facing him on 2K. He's one of the reasons I stopped playing that game. He is locked down. He's a damn good ball player. So
he is. He is. He fits Thibodeau's style to a T. Yeah. I mean, granted, so did Quickly, and I forget who else they traded away. Do you know who else they traded away, Ned? I know they traded away Quickly. And
mostly like draft picks.
I know there was a lot of pick swapping going on, and I think the Thunder somehow got involved just to kind of facilitate a trade, or maybe it was another trade I'm thinking about. I'm a little fuzzy on my NBA trades right now. Or no, I think the Thunder were involved in that James Harden deal. I think that's what it was. Yeah,
they were.
They were. So I kind of had a little brain fart there, but no, I was hoping Anunoby would come to the Sixers because he fits Nick Nurse's system pretty damn well too.
Yeah,
he's again another guy that can guard 1 through 4, and another guy that can shoot from outside, drive to the basket. He can essentially do it all on a pretty high level. I mean, I know his stats don't necessarily jump off the page as him being a star in this league, but he is so damn consistent. He is so damn consistent on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and that's what the Knicks need. That's what the Knicks value. That's what Thibodeau values. And I know, shout out to my Uncle Steve, big Knicks fan. He's been suffering for a long time. He was enthralled by that. I was very happy for him and happy for Knicks faithful. As weird as that sounds to say out loud, I was very happy for them.
Right. One other trade that happened, Terry Rozier, Scary Terry to the Heat, Kyle Lowry to the Hornets. Kyle Lowry likely to be bought out and shipped off somewhere else. So what do you guys think about Terry Rozier and Heat culture? Do you think he's going to be a huge part of them making another run at a title? And what do you think Kyle Lowry's future has in store for him? Because he's 37 years old. He's an undersized guard. He's 6 foot tall, and we're seeing it with several of these guys in recent years, Chris Paul included in that. They're just becoming a little bit too short, too slow. You know, their age is catching up to them at their size too. So what do you guys think? Do you think what do you guys think about Lowry's future, and also how do you think Scary Terry fits into this Heat culture movement here?
I think it's a good fit with Rozier. Yeah, Terry down there. I think that's. I don't know who to compare him to, Nate. His game, two-way, kind of a two-way guy.
Absolutely.
Very much a two-way guy. Has really good fundamental play. I think I saw his free throw percentage one time. It was pretty damn good too. I think it was close to like mid-80s.
Right. Yeah. But Lowry needs to get the hell out. All right, you had a good career, buddy. Just come on. You're starting to go the other way with staying too long. It's time to leave. You're slowing down. You can't do the dribble around bullshit or stall off. I don't even know how to explain his game, Nate. Remember, we went on a 10-minute rant about that.
Oh yeah, I know. He's used his body better than most players in the history. You know, he's a little bit hefty, but he's faster than he looks. He's a better shooter than he appears to be. And he's feisty and relentless. And unfortunately, I just think the way that he played was eventually going to catch up to him, you know, and at 6 foot tall. And same thing with Chris Paul too, you know, they don't play the same way, but some of the things that Chris was able to do with the ball was because he was so much faster than everybody. He could get to his spots, and then, you know, he was just first to that spot and could just kick it out and move it, or he got right by someone to the basket. He wasn't always the most pure shooter. He still isn't. So, but yeah, no, I'm with you guys. Terry Rozier to the Heat is terrifying. You know, he fits perfectly. He can make some plays. He's another bucket getter that they can have. He can score a little bit from the outside, but he's a very, very fast guy that likes to play downhill for sure. And the other part about with Lowry, I think this might be his last year. I think he's gonna cling on to somebody that's making a championship run, play a little bit here and there. But yeah, I don't know who would be in the running for that. You got to think a young team that needs a veteran player. So like maybe somebody like OKC that has a ton of young
the Thunder. Yeah, I mean. Here's the thing, though. I would probably want draft capital in return, and I don't know what the Thunder are going to give up at this point. But
out, and he's going to be
he's getting bought out. That's right.
Most likely, yes. So because they know that nobody's going to trade for him. So
yeah,
you know,
were there some picks involved in that trade too, Nate?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say I was wondering why that you would. Not facilitate that trade with some picks, but yeah, okay.
That makes draft capital. No, there's no other reason they would do that other than the draft capital for sure. So
right, no, I got you. I figured that was the case, but yeah, honestly, I forgot that trade happened.
Yeah, good. I think it's a good one for the Heat, and they don't make bad acquisitions. They just seem to always get it right. You know, it's impressive. So last thing I wanted to highlight. I think I've alluded to it on this program before. I freaking hate, despise, loathe, any other word that fits in a synonym fashion.
Detest.
Thank you. That Major League
Baseball. Wait. Can we start? Can we do the thing where we list off words and then I say what's on my shirt? Can we do that?
Oh, we could have, and I missed the opportunity.
Yeah, we could have. That's okay. I'll wear this next week.
I can't stand the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame. I think it's an absolute sham.
Oh, we talk.
I think
Yeah.
it's incredibly biased, and I hate that baseball writers are the ones that pick it fully. Because I'm sorry to say this, baseball writers know their stuff. You know, I'm a writer. I feel like I know a little bit what's going on. I'm not on the beat for these guys. I don't know them personally. I understand part of the Hall of Fame selection process is character. I get that. I understand that. But you didn't play the game. You didn't play it. You did not play the game.
Right.
The peers should have a say in that, to me. They, like the NBA draft or the NBA All-Star game, the players, personnel, managers, owners, like they should have a say in this too. Certainly. And then it should be a weighted calculation, and then also the writers should get a say too. Because they know the stats very well. They knew the guy personally and their character. They knew what stories that they had to hide from people because they were friends with some of them. They knew what stories they could go after. They saw how they acted, you know, before the game, during the game, after the game. They heard stories, whatever. So I understand that is certainly part of it too. But I think it's incredibly biased. They form negative opinions on people too early in their careers. There's people with the same numbers that are in and not in. There's so too many inconsistencies. There's always going to be, but I hate it. But I think they got a really good class this year, all things considered. There's 4 guys who are stand-up humans, 3 really great players, and one of the best managers of all time. And I know I'm biased because I'm a Pirates fan, but Jim Leland is a damn good manager. And it's a shame he didn't win anything in Pittsburgh, but I was glad that he won a World Series in '97 with the Florida Marlins that had a pretty amazing run. They didn't have the best roster, but they had a good roster, and they made an unbelievable run in '97. So I'll start with Leland real quick, just talking about him, what he accomplished. He was a manager for almost 30 years, 3,499 games, 1,769 wins for Jim Leland. So very, very great accolades there. Glad they're doing it this year. He'll be 80 years old this year. So really, really cool. They're doing it for his kind of like his 80th birthday for sure. Like I said, 1997 World Championship with the Florida Marlins, and helped turn the Pirates that were absolutely lousy in the 80s back into something in the late 80s and early 90s. Unfortunately, just didn't win anything, unfortunately. So he was their first inductee. So really, really great that he is going in. Managed the Pirates from 86 and 96, Marlins 97 and 98, Rockies for 1 year in 99, and then got the Tigers to a World Series, although they lost. But he was with them from 2006 to 2000.
Got him to 2, I believe. Got him to 2.
Yeah, I think you're right. So lost.
06 and 2012. I talked about him a couple months back, and I was looking for that as you were talking. So
You're right.
2 I have noted here, 2006 and 2012.
First year, and then right at the end when they got Miguel Cabrera at the trade deadline, and he went on a crazy run right when he was winning rounds, MVPs, all that stuff. But yeah, great guy of character, high character with Jim Leland. But the players are also incredible too. To me, Adrian Beltre, 3,000 hits, almost 500 home runs. One of the best characters baseball has seen in many years. Was successful in every stop and in every chapter of his career. Played from the age of 19 in the big leagues to the age of 39. Very great longevity. Multiple time All-Star, second in MVP voting with the Dodgers in 2004. Got the Rangers to back-to-back World Series championships. 21-year career. So just some amazing stats to go along with an amazing personality and a good character guy that never got tested positive for steroids. So you always got to throw that stuff in there.
Before you move on to the next guy, Nate, I have to throw this out there as well. I never saw anyone have more fun playing the game of baseball than Adrian Beltre.
Very few guys, for sure.
Very few guys if anybody that I've seen have more fun on a diamond. Whether it was, I don't know, he pulled the what do you call it? The on deck circle back, and an umpire tossed him out. That was kind of hilarious. Joking, running out of the baseline multiple times like an idiot. It was, yeah. I always enjoyed him.
Right. Yeah. Made $219+ million in career earnings too. So
very nice.
So final stats for him: 4-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover, very underrated glove at third base, 4-time Silver Slugger Award winner as well, and played for 21 seasons in the pros, just the major league level. So longevity was fantastic as well. So
amazing he did it. He never wore a cup.
That's a
did not wear a cup at the hot corner.
Big Rick. He was a very bold man, and here to tell about it. So next one I'm going to go to is Todd Helton. Peyton Manning, quarterback backup at the University of Tennessee in the 90s. Went on to be one of the greatest players in recent memory, probably the best Rocky of all time, if not second, but I think he's probably first. He's top couple for sure. Larry Walker comes to mind too, but I think Todd Helton played his whole career there. Larry Walker did not. So there you go. He made the Hall of Fame. Pretty cool. Born in Knoxville, Tennessee, got to play for the University of Tennessee at quarterback. So that's pretty cool that he had the opportunity to do that before he moved over to professional baseball. First round pick, lived up to that, certainly, as a 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove Award winner, 4-time Silver Slugger, and a batting title champion. So very, very great statistics there. 2,519 career hits. He hit 316 for his career, which you don't even see that anymore. Good average. 369 home runs as well. And one thing that he'll always be known for is helping the Colorado Rockies make one of the craziest runs to the World Series of all time. Now they got swept, but they went on an unbelievable winning streak and went all the way to the World Series. And that was certainly one of the craziest runs of all time. Unfortunately, it's small market, didn't have a lot of to finish it. Another guy who played a long time, 17-year career, played a ton of games. He played 2,247 games to be exact, and certainly one of the best players in our generation. And I think one of the most underappreciated players in our generation because he got stuck in Colorado and was loyal to them his whole career. And it's great that he's going to take his rightful seat here in Cooperstown later this year. So congrats to Todd Helton for sure. Really, really good guy and great player. But rounding it out, certainly last but not least, is maybe the greatest high school athlete of all time that nobody talks about. Joe Mauer.
Mauer. 3-sport athlete, right?
What's that?
3-sport athlete, right?
3-sport athlete, Joe Mauer. One of the greatest high school athletes of all time. All-state in basketball, averaged 20 points per game as a senior.
Yep.
He was not just the Minnesota Gatorade Player of the Year in football. He was the national Gatorade Player of the Year at quarterback. Won a state championship at his high school, Cretton High School in St. Paul. And then also was the number one player in America in baseball, was committed to play football and baseball at Florida State. But then he got drafted number 1 overall in the 2001 MLB amateur draft and signed with his hometown Minnesota Twins out of high school and went college. So this guy was a legend, and he decided to continue being a catcher, which was in his era not quite as dicey as it is now because, catchers get moved around all the time now. They get moved to the outfield, first base, DH. He stuck it out at catcher because he was that smart and he was that athletic and that talented of a player. And that's exactly why he's a Hall of Famer. He put up numbers that very few have ever done at the catcher position and probably will never do again because of the mobility of that position and the rotation of saving people's knees, playing the backup catcher, moving people to DH that can hit so well, and outfield early in their career. So we might never ever see a baseball player like Joe Mauer ever again. Not that they're not talented enough. There probably will be some people as talented, if not more talented than Joe Mauer. They just won't probably remain as a catcher. It's a lost art, in my opinion, in baseball. But to think about what this guy achieved, he was a former MVP for the Minnesota Twins, 6-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover, 5-time Silver Slugger, and a 3-time batting champion at catcher. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Oh,
Christ almighty.
Unbelievable.
You
Yeah,
never see that. You're
No.
lucky if your catcher's batting 250.
right. And this guy hit 306 for his career as a catcher.
Oh, geez.
It's incredible. The production he had while also calling the game, all that wear and tear on your knees.
Yep.
Elite, status of what he did for sure. So to put in perspective, the year he won MVP, he hit 365 with 28 home runs and 96 RBIs.
Wow.
And 191 hits.
Damn.
And also called all the games.
365.
Don't see that very often anymore.
Oh my God. What year was that, Nate?
His MVP year was 2009. They made the playoffs that year, but unfortunately didn't do much with it. They ran to the Yankees every freaking year, man.
Right.
That was the year
you
they
can't
won
go.
the World Series. Yep.
Yeah.
That was the year he's won the World Series when they got Nick Swisher and Mark Teixeira, and they had already had A-Rod and Jeter and all that around. So
Yep.
they were a really good team that year. But yeah, Joe Mauer eventually moved to first base later in his career. Didn't quite have the pop. Did hit for a decent average. I mean, he hit 305 in his second to last year. So,
Not
still
bad.
for a very high average. And so one of the most underappreciated pure athletes of all time, because he had to give up the other sports at 18 years old. We could very easily be talking about Joe Mauer in a different capacity. I think a lot of people think he probably had the talent to play NFL football at quarterback for sure. Definitely had the talent to play college basketball. At what level, I don't know, but probably Division I level, I would think, putting up some of those stats. So, yeah, really, really great one to go out with for sure. And the one thing I appreciate about Todd Helton and Joe Mauer, they played their entire career with one program, one team, stayed loyal to their team. And despite not winning the big one, they got their team pretty close and in what was odds against them. Minnesota's got a little bit of money. Colorado's got nothing, but they gave it all they had and, did it the right way. So it's great that they're going to take their, forever seat in Cooperstown. So great Hall of Fame class overall. But I wanted to end with one final thing, and it is just the guys that didn't make it that should have made it or may make it in the future. So put it into perspective, Billy Wagner had 73.8% of the vote. He needs 75, so he's very close. But personally, I think the biggest snub is Andruw Jones from the Atlanta Braves. This guy, there's been nobody that's put up the home run production and the Gold Glove production in center field like Andruw Jones. Willie Mays didn't even put up the Gold Glove paired with the power numbers that Andruw Jones did consecutively. He's in a class of his own, and he is so underappreciated, and I don't understand why. Look at his longevity. Look what he did from the time he was a teenager all the way through. And I'm not saying Andruw Jones is as good as Willie Mays. I'm not. But Andruw Jones is one of the most underappreciated players of all time. Andruw Jones needs to be for sure. And definitely so does Billy Wagner. And the next closest one to me, I also think is a snub, is Gary Sheffield. He was a World Series champion. He hit over 500 home runs. He's known for the greatest batting stance of all time. And he was snubbed. He got 63.9% of the vote. And he's kind of running out of time too. But if you listen to him, he's kind of over this process. He thinks it's wrong too. And I'm with him. I personally am with him. He played on so many good teams and he produced for every single team. when he came into the league as a shortstop, which many people forget about, he was asked to move to a corner outfield position because of his power and because of saving his body for that reason, the power and the doubles and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, those are some guys that in the future I hope have a shot to get in there. Not many closers better than Billy Wagner in history. If you look at the not, great left.
How many years of eligibility does he have left, Nate?
I think not many, maybe one.
Maybe one.
Trouble. Maybe that was it. I can't exactly remember. But
I'll say this too, and I hate to say this. I hate to compliment any Atlanta Brave, but the only thing I really remember about Jones, because he played when I was a pretty young baseball fan. I didn't get to see him during the peak of his prime, but even when I saw him, that guy could mash.
Yeah, Billy Wagner. Yeah, he could. Andrew Jones, very consistent. Helped the Braves win a bazillion in a row NL East titles. I think it was like 15 in a row. They were incredible. So hopefully Andrew Jones, Billy Wagner, Gary Sheffield are more highly considered in the future. But I wanted to throw out a couple final names before we wrap up the show here of guys who were also on the ballot that did not get voted in. So also on the list was Carlos Beltran, Manny Ramirez, Chase Utley, Omar Vizquel, Bobby Abreu, Jimmy Rollins, Andy Pettit, Mark Burley, Francisco Rodriguez, known as K-Rod, Torrey, David Wright. All great names, but it's so hard to get in there. So
how the hell is Andy Pettit not in there yet?
Steroids.
That's true.
Steroids. And it's the same thing with Gary Sheffield. There's rumors that he took them. So that's what's keeping him out potentially.
Yeah.
He's got 500 home runs. You don't keep many guys out with 500 home runs unless they took steroids. So
they kept out the all-time leader in home runs.
Steroids, potentially. And now he's no longer
allegedly.
So he's no longer on the ballot. Same thing with Lemons. They took steroids. He's no longer on the ballot. Got voted out. Sammy, same thing. Mark McGuire, same thing. So it's unfortunate. It's very tough to make it. But Manny Ramirez, steroids, but supposedly, only got 32.4 vote. One of the best power hitters and actually pure hitters of all time. Hit for a very high average if you look back too.
So many doubles.
Doubles, good average too. Back when the average still mattered. So
right.
List. Adrian Beltre, first year of eligibility, 95.1% of the vote. Joe Mauer, first year of eligibility, 76% of the vote, which is low to me. And then Todd Helton, 9.7%. I think he had actually waited a little bit. But good for those guys. But hopefully some of these guys get to take their rightful seat here soon too, because to keep out Manny, Gary Sheffield, Alex Rodriguez, and others.
And Andy Pettit, I think, has the most all-time postseason starts in MLB history.
Yeah.
Why? And one of the best ERAs in postseason history as a starter.
200 plus.
As much as I hate to compliment a Yankee.
Yeah. 200 plus starter too. So very elite company in that regard. Did it well for the Yankees on, several occasions, and then also with the Astros, got them to a World Series championship back when they were, way more small market playing in the NL Central. So
yes.
Yeah. A lot of great players and really difficult vote. To get 75% is damn near impossible. And there's been almost nobody unanimous. I mean, people were voting against Derek Jeter and wanted to vote against Mariano Rivera for people. Like, that's why this is a anymore, So
I think the closest guy to unanimous was Griffey.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too, when Ichiro becomes eligible, if there's one person that votes against him, I'm coming to their house and we're having a chat.
Right. It's a joke.
Yeah.
So Rivera had the highest of all time. He was actually unanimous, but there were people that were saying they were going to do it just to not do it for him.
Yeah. Thank you for verifying that. Yes.
Jeter got 99.7. So there was one guy that did that for Jeter because they're a jerk. Absolute jerk. Probably
Must have been a Red Sox fan. Must have been a Red Sox fan.
Yep, and Griffey was third, which you were very close, 99.3%. So certainly probably somebody that maybe disliked Ken Griffey's dad, or somebody that was a Yankees writer and heard Ken Griffey Jr. say he hates the Yankees, so he wouldn't vote for him. So there you go.
Right. No, anything else, folks? That was
plenty. So
okay.
Good expansion into some other things. Probably a little bit long-winded. Probably
No.
a lot of people,
Yeah.
but good to share some knowledge on the other topics sometimes too.
No. We
Yeah.
covered the big three. I feel, not taken away from NHL or soccer or any other sport. No, baseball, basketball, football tonight. It was a good show. Very informative. I think I think we have a lot of baseball fans that watch us too, so it's never a bad thing to add a little flavor. We're coming down the decline NFL. We'll be back next week for our preview to Super Bowl. I don't even know what goddamn number it is, boys. What number is it now?
58.
58. All right, preview to Super Bowl 58. After 43, I kind of stopped giving a shit.
Well, it's our Jack Lambert Super Bowl now, buddy. It's
Right.
Jack Lambert Super 58. So.
Right. No, but we'll be back with betting advice. Do not bet on the day. Bet on Sunday. God damn it. Or don't bet now. Okay, just wait. Lines can change. A lot of things can happen. But we appreciate you tuning in with us here. If you're watching live or you're watching later on, we appreciate you as always. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe out there. Leave, subscribe, like, comment. I keep forgetting to do that shit too. That's a whole YouTube thing. We would appreciate that. And, share with your grandma, your family, your friends, girlfriend. I really don't care. Watch it with your dog. It's a good show. These guys take times out of their day to get a script here. And it takes a lot to come on camera. It's not easy to talk for 2 hours and 21 minutes. So we appreciate you guys. Have a good day. Have a good night. I already said that. All gas, no breaks. We'll see you next Tuesday, 8 o'clock sharp. And this was another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys. And boys, I appreciate you.